Hello my friends, my name is Lindsey and I run the blog Books for Christian Girls, and welcome back to the little corner of the internet where I talk mainly about Christian fiction. Merry Christmas! Today is a Christmas themed video, and while I don't plan to do any book recommendation videos for Christmas themed books, I have done those years before. And then last year I also did a Christmas wrap-up kind of all the Christmas books I read last year. I did a wrap-up of that, and I also made my bookshelf into a tree, so that was a lot of fun. That was very much a trust the process concept, but it was lots of fun to do. I will link those up there and in the description if you'd like to check them out. But last year I was tagged to do the Christmas Nativity book tag, which the lovely Lou over at Christian Faith and Fiction created and tagged me to do, and I ran out of time last year to do it, and I was so sad because I really wanted to do it. So I wanted to make every effort to make sure it got posted this year, because it's a really fun tag, you know, and I get to talk about a lot of books that I really haven't got to talk about in a while. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Question number 1 is The Angel Gabriel, a story that shares the good news of salvation. Now, I'm going to pick this series, but I would like to reread it. It would be nice if I could reread it next year, but I don't know if I will get to that. And I'm going to go with Riley May and the Rock Shocker Trek. Just this whole series is called The Good News Shoes Trilogy by Jill Osborne. This is my favorite Faith Girls series that I remember, and I really enjoyed it. She becomes a young spokesperson for a shoe company, and they go on different mission trips talking about the good news of Jesus and sharing shoes. And you know, it was a really fun series. I haven't talked about this series in so long, so that's really fun. I would like to reread it, but that I remember, this series I think really had that as a very prevalent topic, which is great. Question number 2, No Room at the Inn, a book that's too big to fit on your shelf standing up. So I actually have my bookshelves quite tight. As you can tell, like there's not much space in between, and that's because I have an additional shelf on these bookcases, these bookshelves. So honestly, there's been a few that they don't fit, and I have to kind of figure out what to do. So one book though that came to mind is Ignite by Jenna Terese. This is a big paperback. Like, let's see, let me grab a normal book size so y'all can have a comparison. It's like a good inch taller. So yeah, this is a Christian fantasy that has to do with superpowers but not superheroes, and I've talked about it quite a bit on this channel, especially recently, but it was really good. So it's a big book though, so I have it laying down like this with some of my other superhero spy-ish books that are kind of more Christian fiction, clean fiction, kind of that line in between. I have all those together, so it lays down like this. Question number 3, Wrapped in Swaddling Cloths, a book that gives you a cozy feeling. And honestly, I feel like any book I've given 5 stars would fit that. So I easily, since I just pulled it, I could easily say The Librarian and Boone's Hollow by Sawyer. Y'all know I love this book. I made a whole 20-minute video just fangirling about it when I first read it. I love this book. So much fun. But to go with maybe another book I haven't talked about in a while that I really should, The Story People by Heather Kaufman. Every person that I know has read this because of my recommendation loved it. If you read this and you didn't love it because of my recommendation, I don't want to know. Sorry, I don't want to know. But that I know of, everyone who has read it has really enjoyed it. So, not to set the bar really high or anything, but it was an excellent book. I really had hoped I would reread this one here this past year, but I'm going to make more of an effort to reread it in 2024 because I just remember adoring this book. It's bookish. It has books. There's a bit of matchmaking. There's elderly characters that are just a hoot. I remember adoring this, and I really want to reread it. It's a shame that I loved it so much, and I've only read it once, I think. So, gonna change that, but this definitely will give me the cozy, comforting feeling that I love about my favorite books. Question number 4, Representing a Manger, a character with humble beginnings. And this was probably the hardest question for me to answer on this tag because I guess I've never really paid attention to that. So if you know a character with humble beginnings, please let me know, because potentially I've read that book, a very high chance. So maybe there's more than one, but I really had to stare at my bookshelf and think, because whenever I plan a tag video, I stare at my bookcase for a good 30 minutes when planning, at least. At least I just stare at my bookshelf, which is a very serotonin boosting thing to do, but I'm trying to come up with these answers. So I think I'm going to go with Daniel from the Debutante's Code by Erykah Vetsch. Y'all have been hearing me rave about this trilogy now, especially that it's over. I'm so sad, but this first book was so good. I gave it 4.5 stars. He, though, is a Bow Street runner, so a police officer of this time period. It's a Regency mystery. This first book has to do with art mysteries and art thefts, and I love that so much. And he, I guess you could say, comes from very humble beginnings, and there's a lot of like birth secrets and that kind of thing that get pulled throughout the trilogy because it follows the main couple the whole trilogy, which I really liked. And yeah, I'm gonna go with him, but I feel like there's somebody else I could pick, but I can't think of who. So let me know if you can think of someone, because I feel like there's like a Melanie Dickerson character or something. There's somebody else. I just guess I don't notice that. Question number 5, The Heavenly Host Singing, a book with a musical theme. I pulled 2 for this, both historical fiction. The first book would be Playing by Heart by Ann Matier. This has been republished under the author's actual name of Deanne Matier, and I believe it's on Kindle Unlimited. This was published originally by Bethany House in 2014, and I think this was my first book by this author, and I kind of just got hooked on her books since. And so I'd like to reread this one. I reread a couple of her books in the last couple of years, and I haven't reread this one yet. And if I remember right, this was my favorite one, so I want to read it. So our main girl is Lula, which I love that name. I just think that's so fun. You don't hear that name that often, at least in my world. I don't hear that name often. And she has finally achieved her dream to have a teaching position so she can continue her college education in mathematics. But she gets a phone call from her sister and she has to rush back to Oklahoma, and the only teaching job there is a combination music instructor and basketball coach. Which I just remember really enjoying this book. It has a lot to do with the music. It has to do with some basketball too, and it was just fun. And what's really cool, look at this picture back here. It's got like an old-timey historical picture of girls playing basketball. So again, I need to reread this one. I really remember enjoying this one, and I haven't reread it. I feel like her books are kind of a hidden gem in the Christian historical fiction. I don't feel like I ever see people talk about her books or Carol Cox, which I have talked about her books quite often. They're also in that comfy reads because I know I enjoyed them and I get to reread them. So I'll most likely like 9.5 out of 10 times still enjoy them. So yes, this one. But my other book was a more recent read, and that was Still My Forever by Kim Vogel Sawyer. Our main guy in this one is a musician, and was with our main girl. Her name is Ava. Yes, Ava. And then he kind of breaks things off so he can go to New York City to become a musician. Well, 4 years later, he's back. That dream did not work how he was anticipating, and it's that return to the small town trope, but it was him, which was interesting because I feel like typically with that trope it's her, but it's him, and it's just a very sweet book. Lots of faith content, lots of musical content. Yeah, it was good. Question number 6, Shepherds and Sheep, a story containing an animal. I have options, so let's just talk about it. I can think of many, and they're all going to be dogs. Off the Chain by Janice Thompson. Whole series has to do with dogs. Fantastic series. Y'all have been hearing me talk about them. $1 Million Dilemma and Norah's Ark by Judy Baer. What I really like on, is it both of them? No, okay, so just Norah's Ark actually has the back cover in her dog's point of view, which I just thought was really cute. Very fun. Y'all know I love $1 Million Dilemma. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I personally really liked it. And then one more, just for fun. The Maya Davis series by Erynn Mangum has a beagle named Calvin in it. I love my beagle representation. Y'all, I recently created a shelf on my Goodreads just so I can mark if a book has a beagle. It is literally titled, Has a Beagle. And I've had a lot of fun adding books to that shelf because I'm a little biased. I am a little biased. Question number 7, 3 Wise Men, a story that involves travel. Okay, again, I'm mentioning Erynn Mangum. She's my favorite author. We're going with it, friends. Mind the Gap by Erynn Mangum. The main girl gets laid off from her dream job and ends up going on a trip to London with her grandmother, and it was so much fun. I definitely foresee me rereading this one soon just because it was so much fun, so lovely. Lots of faith content, cute British tour guide that encourages her faith, and it's Erynn Mangum, y'all. Just her books. I love them so much. Question number 8, Gold, a book with gold on the cover. This was actually a lot harder than you think. I don't feel like a lot of Christian fiction have that gold foil effect unless like it's a special edition. And oh, wait a second. You know, hang on, I'm just now thinking, as I'm filming, is this one got gold on it? So I was going to say Once I Knew by Victoria Lynn, which is a non-magical fantasy I really enjoyed. And that one's kind of got that gold, but here we go. The Wonderland Trials by Sara Ella. That's right, it's got this gold foil for the hardback. And the front cover has a little bit of that gold tone, but not really any foiling. But on this part it does, so we'll count that. This is an Alice in Wonderland reimagining in a dystopian, almost alternate universe fantasy. I enjoyed it. It was an entertaining series. Question number 9, Frankincense, a book that was gifted to you. Okay, I'm really bad about if I want a book, I just buy it. Ask my mom. She gets on me about that because like I'll have books on my Christmas list and then I remove them all and she's like, where'd they go? I go, I bought them. I wanted them. I bought them. She goes, no, I have to have something to buy you. So yeah, I'm really bad about that. But let's see. Oh, here we go. But The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp by Sarah Brunswold, a sweet friend, sent this to me. You know who you are. Thank you, my dear friend. I don't share my wish list here. I know a lot of other booktubers do it, and that's totally fine. I just don't personally feel comfortable doing that. Yeah, it's not my thing. But a sweet friend sent me this one, so thank you. Do I need to talk about this book? I feel like if you're in the Christian fiction market at all, you have probably heard about this book. But this is a contemporary with no romance about a woman who is getting her obituary written before she has passed away, and this young reporter that has been assigned to this case. And it's a heartwarming story. It's an emotionally tear-jerking story, but I did really enjoy it. The faith content was what really made it stand out to me. Question number 10, Myrrh, a book that made you cry. And here's the thing, if I am emotionally tired or just exhausted or just tired in general, I am more likely to cry. It's just, that's just how that works. So there's a handful of ones that have made me cry, but I think The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp, the one I just mentioned, yeah, I think that one might be my top for that question that I can think of. I know I've teared up at a few this year because of whatever different content they had that just like hit close to home or just wrecked me in a different way. So like even a book that, oh, it's in a stack. I don't really want to pull it out of that stack. But Countdown by Lynn Easton. There was a faith conversation that made me bawl just because it hit close to home. So I discussed that in my Annotate With Me video if you'd like to hear more about that. But it's a suspense book. It's not supposed to make you cry. And I don't think most people would cry, but because that faith conversation hit just so close to my tender heart, it made me cry. So that one, but like a typical one I think that would make people cry would be The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp. I have difficulty saying that long word. Question number 11, Mary and Joseph, a book with a big surprise. I'm going to go with the whole Port Astor's Secrets trilogy by Sandra Orchard. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I feel like a lot of people have recently read this first book, but they haven't continued on with the series, though they want to. And I'm afraid y'all are going to have to reread the first book because it connects in like so well, the whole series, just like boom, boom, boom. They just follow along. And book 2, certain things are revealed that I was like, oh wow. And when I reread this one, I think I reread it last year in 22, I was almost like reading it again for the first time because I was like, I don't remember any of this, and it was still just as good. I really enjoyed the series. This was a really good, this is probably by far my favorite mystery suspense trilogy, or just series in general. I really enjoyed it. So, lots of plot twists, lots of surprises. And the final question, question number 12, Jesus, the story with the most Christian content. And in all honesty, I feel like I have a lot that I could say for this, and that makes me so happy because I won't say exclusively read Christian fiction, but I feel like 80 to maybe 90% of what I read is Christian fiction. I've read a lot of clean fiction this year because of Kindle Unlimited, but the genre I love the most is Christian fiction, and that's because of the Christian faith content. And there's quite a few I could say. Like Stealing the Preacher by Karen Winnemeyer has a lot of faith content. You know, I'm going to say a Christmas book for this, and that would be A Christmas Novella, which was A Texas Christmas Carol by Kara Whittemire. She typically has a good amount of faith content in her books. Sometimes it's a little too much romance for me, but I did really enjoy both of those two. I think I'm going to go with that book though, because even though it was a novella, the pacing was so good. Like, I really like the pacing, and it's obviously a retelling of A Christmas Carol, which I've never read, so I maybe missed on a couple little, like, Easter eggs, if you will. That sounds funny to say Easter eggs when it's a Christmas novella, but anyway, I might have missed a couple things, but I got the overall, and I also really just liked that the main guy, his name was Evan Beezer. I love a good pun, y'all. I love it so much. But he had a realization and a realization about God and what it means to be a Christian. And it wasn't a very rushed feeling. Like, even though it was a novella, it wasn't a rushed confession of faith or moment. It was just really nice. And it just came together so well at the end. I really like that one. I would go with that one maybe. I feel like there's lots of ones I could mention though. Like, Erynn Mangum's books always have great faith content. Always have tons of faith content. I'll go with a Christmas one for this though. I'll go with that. And then the final thing is to tag someone. And I don't know. I'm trying to think who's all like maybe joined a booktube this year. So they weren't around to do it back in 22 when this tag was first released. But I also know it's getting close to Christmas. So I don't want to just like push this on y'all. I mean, you can do it after Christmas if you want. That's totally fine. I don't know. Rachel over at Rachel Reads, I don't feel like you've done this. Who else? Let's see. Carmen, have you done this one? If you feel up to doing this one, that would be fun to see. If y'all have already, if I'm saying your names and you've already done it, forgive me. I will find out when I edit this video, and I'll put the links to your video below, Erica. It would be cool if you would want to do it. Haley, did you do it? I don't know. I'm just going to tag a few of y'all, and y'all could have fun if you want to do it. Harmony over at Harm's Honey. I think you would have some interesting answers for that one, Harmony. So, yeah, okay, I'll just tag y'all if you've already done it. If you don't want to do it, totally okay. I totally understand. It is close to Christmas, and it's a busy time of the year. Totally fine, but just want to offer up this video idea for y'all if you'd like to, because I'd love to hear y'all's answers for that. If you've already posted it, though, please forgive me. I will find that out in editing, and I will rewatch it, because you know I've already watched it once. I have. I know I have. My memory is getting terrible. But that is it for this tag. Isn't this such a fun, little, clever, creative tag? I love all the questions and the meanings. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to do this tag, please feel free to do it. I love a good tag video, especially with the holiday season. But it's just this is a really good one because it brings back the main focus of the holiday season of Christmas, and I really appreciate that. So thank you again to Lou for tagging me, and all those who came up with this tag, those who have done this video before. It's just a really fun one. I hope you enjoyed this video, hearing my answers. I'd love to hear your answers to any of these, particularly the Humble Beginnings one, because I guess I don't pay attention to that. Do you pay attention to that? I don't feel like I do. And then the other question that involves gold on the cover. What are some Christian fiction books that have like a gold tone or even gold foil on the cover? I feel like most are yellow, not gold. And that's a difference in my mind. So let me know y'all's answers to those or any of the other questions. This is a good one you could even just do on Instagram or TikTok or wherever, on Reels, posts, whatever you want to do. It's a really fun tag. And it reminds us of the true meaning of the Christmas season. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to chat with y'all about all these books. I gotta talk about some books I don't really get to talk about too much, and also some books I'd like to reread because my rereading list is always long. It's always long. But I will see y'all next time. Thank you so much for watching. I am Lindsey from the blog booksforchristiangirls.blogspot.com, where there's a new review every Monday and Friday. I try to post a new video on this channel every Friday, and I've been doing pretty good at it. I'm very proud of myself. It's been a motivation to get one out every week, and I'm really happy about that. I know sometimes my videos are longer though, so hopefully you're not sick of me. And if you're not sick of me, I am also on Instagram and Goodreads and TikTok and all those places. I have a newsletter for Books for Christian Girls if you want to be notified about things. I'll leave that link down below. And I hope you have a very, very Merry Christmas, and I will see y'all in my next video. Thank you again, and have an absolutely lovely rest of your day.